Hello Galactic family, the Greek philosophers and thinkers occupied very important roles in the study of psychology, trying to understand the human mind. Socrates with his theory of logical questioning, Plato disciple of Socrates sought a rational explanation of the world. Aristotle's student Plato believed that the ideas and the soul were immortal. Perception defined in structuralism and developed by the human mind is of great importance because it explains the ability to select, organize, and interpret all the sensations experienced and taken to the brain. The same is what makes the human being in animal condition as more fearful than others, for their ability to predict what the consequences will be in the future what they fear, and because the emotional part speak faster than the rational part. While other animals only acquire fear that given time, they do not have the ability to anticipate. In the last 1,000 years, humanity had more changes than compared to other major historical periods. Every passing day, new discoveries make humans explore further the limits of memory, intelligence and attention. However, we may have not realized is that the limits imposed by the human mind can be a kind of defense mechanism for our body. Thus stimulate the brain continuously to a point higher than expected may cause, at some point, humanity finds a fatal limit. This is the thesis defended by a new paper published in Current Directions in Psychological Science, Journal of the Association for Psychological Science. The authors are Thomas Hills of the University of Warwick, and Ralph Hertwig of the University of Basel. To reach this conclusion, researchers analyzed the development of the human being over the years. If we follow a continuous progressive scale, in theory should already be more advanced in many other fields of knowledge in the development of our habilidades contudo, it is possible that may never come to reach full capacity of the brain just because it would be detrimental to our system nervous. The double takes as an example the function of the brain of some gifted people. IQ very high rates may be linked to diseases in the nervous system. In addition, the use of stimulant drugs such as Ritalin and caffeine can bring negative consequences for the organism, said Hills. As a result of this process, problems such as insomnia, stress and hyperactivity become much more likely. The human mind is one of the greatest challenges for science and philosophical thought of our time. Already we know everything there is to know on this subject for the simple reason that we are the subject. However, it seems that we never know enough about what makes us feel and think. Like all great challenges of knowledge, should overlook the discouraging fact greats of the past have already been busy this theme. With regard to the understanding of the role of the human mind in the universe are all learners. It is therefore necessary to look with optimism to this area of the world and life. The idea of this theme arose from the fact many people do not know what is the mind and or think that it is the same as the brain. The truth is that the brain and mind are two distinct realities. The brain is undoubtedly something truly important in all living beings possess. Then, and mind? What is your role? The fact is that, compared to what is known about the brain, knowledge of mind is still very low. Often we apply the word mind without realizing it. Are we using it correctly? If not, after all, what is the mind? How it relates to the brain? Is the mind the result of our brain? Although we are all made from an established standard, we are completely different from each other. There are hundreds of things that make you be different from all the others, since your musical taste and sense of humor to the sound of his voice and the shape of your face. And how do you become one? Part of the answer lies in their genes. Your parents would have more babies to have a chance of having another child with the same genes you. Another part of the answer lies in the experiences that shape your personality as you grow. Robert Winston, 2004. Every human being is unique. We are all different. We may be similar physiologically or psychologically to someone, but we are fully different. As cada one passes for unique situations, each interprets in his own way their experiences. We are not and cannot be like someone else. Our biology does not allow us to be like someone else, because we human beings are not born human. Genetics and brain prepare the man for mental functions and superior behavior. However, this innate availability is not more than a potential to become human. This means that man is not born only in sufficient condition for being human. What makes us recognizably human depends on much more than that genetic and biological heritage. It is essential to take into account the social and cultural dimensions so that we can understand human beings and how they behave. The human being is distinguished from other animals by their ability to adapt to the environment, transforming it and reinventing it through culture. If we analyze cases of feral children found that the absence of interactions with other human beings prevented the development of language, cognitive, affective, social and cultural skills. Their characteristics show us how we depend on others, physical and socio-cultural contact with them, to become human beings that we are. Because when we are born we have only a probability of developing human characteristics, which only happens if we touch with the social environment and cultural humanized. Heredity and environment control mental development. The mental development occurs through a complex interplay of inherited skills and external influences. Our genes regulate brain nerve cells to create millions of connections. But our external influences also affect these legal. However, it cannot, or at least not yet, say with all certainty that the mind is a result in more than one thing or another. Little is known about the mind and brain, compared to its complexity, which makes it very difficult to draw conclusions that cannot be guaranteed as certain, because every day is new information discovered and every day are reviewed and reformulated theories and knowledge. Will we ever know everything about the brain and the mind? This is an issue that plagues us often, but we think it will be very difficult this happen ever. Maybe we will never know everything about the brain and mind, because our research capacity is negligible compared to the infinity of details and potential that both have. Brain and mind are not the same, however, have a relationship of interdependence. Brain and mind are two distinct realities. While the brain is a condition of the mind is not necessarily conditioned. Cerebro-brain is a physical structure, it is the support of the material mind. The mind is immaterial, does not see, it is an integrative system of interdependent and dynamic processes, cognitive processes, emotional and cognitive. The mind and the brain influence each other. The mind owes its existence to the brain. It is the brain that we have, the kind of brain that will influence what our mind is. The way the brain will develop throughout our lives are influenced by the environment in which we operate, the experiences we experience, but also because we exercise our minds. Brain and mind are so interrelated, one influences the other. Mutual form. Despite the great importance that the brain has for the construction of our mind, it cannot be seen as the only manufacturer of mind. As in all buildings is necessary to have several players who specialize each in your area, give rise at the end of a single, cohesive construction. The mind is thus constructed not only by the brain and biological factors, but also, as mentioned numerous times, by extrinsic factors to us. The mind is also the result of our experiences, our daily experience with the world that surrounds us and absorbs increasingly with the trends of today and of yesterday as fads that create standards established as norms of society, materialism that takes place, the essentials of life, the spirituality that escapes every day, looking only for us and not for others. But the society of today, The behavioral changes that have occurred over the years are also the result. A mind is a world-building system. It is the mind that makes us think and give us our identity. You must present terms. It is essential to establish a close relationship between mental processes, private behavior, its public manifestation, and neural structures support material. The power of this triangulation is superb and clear, because we cannot separate any of the components of others. It's all interrelacionado. Throughout history, there have been several researchers gave more emphasis to the biological component of human, and others saw revalorizaron the social dimension, cultural. Currently, it resists any reductive attitude that relegate the mind to any of the fields. The human mind is not a college isolated, but an activity complex, characterized by its systemic structure, mediated nature, and historical and social background. Its systemic structure consists of a dynamic set of psychological components: volitional, cognitive, affective, and interconnected brain regions, each contributing basic operations for carrying out the activity as a whole. His character-mediated semantic stems from the fact that man's material actions are preceded and accompanied by mental actions, or by symbolic representations of things, projects, and programs. And in origin, mental activity is an internal reconstruction virtual of external operations with things and with people, mediated by tools and signs, especially the language. The argumentative use of the latter comes the capacity for reflection and judgment. For all that just expose, we are forced to say that we cannot attribute greater importance will of the construction factors of the human mind. To what extent the human mind is a result of our experiences and the influence of our brain. This is a question that probably will continue to raise questions for many years, and then our mind is even an equivalent result either from biological components, either social components, and there is nothing else to know about it. We will investigate this series. We begin to uncover the mysteries and doubts surrounding this matter so fundamental and fascinating.